Nursing University trains your brain in a way most degrees never will. I'm a final year nursing student and I'm a fourth year nursing student, and today I want to talk about how Nursing University trains your brain differently than other degrees. The first point that I really want to talk about here, decision making under pressure. So when it comes to decision making is a very big element when it comes to Nursing University, because it's not only essential in internship and also exams, but it's also essential in the entire formation. So whether in your country, whatever you are, whether it's 3 years or 4 years in nursing university, decision making under pressure is a very essential skill that is required for you to learn. I'm going to give you a good example that I have myself. I'm a fourth year and a final year nursing student. I study in nursing university in East Morocco, and about 1 month ago I had this situation. I was in a local hospital actually, and there was one of the patients that has some sort of situation that I've never seen before. Now, in those situations where I was almost pretty much alone, I was the only one in that room who is the final year and fourth year, and the other nurses were actually in doing an emergency reunion, so I was alone, and I had to make a decision under pressure. So as an example, I obviously evaluated the situation, I looked at all the data, looked at all the previous situations, and then I ended up actually going and asking for the nurse's advice, which came very handy. But a lot of times you really don't have that situation where you can go to a nurse. And in nursing university, they really teach you that, because after you finish nursing university, you can be in a rural village alone. A lot of the times you can't have any help, and the only help you can have is yourself. So in this specific situation, you have to be able to make a decision, or decision making under pressure. And this is a very big one. I'll say the second point that I really want to add in here is attention to details with consequences. So attention to detail with consequences is a very large one, because it's not only important in, let's say, pressured situations where, as an example, the patient's life is on the line, but a lot of the times nursing is actually a lot about details. I'll give you a good, beautiful example. So about 2 weeks ago, or last week, I was in the hospital, and I was in my service, in my internship. I was me and my colleague, and there was 21 students from different private schools. So all of those students, and some of them were obviously different schools, so not all of them are nurses. There was one of them, or a group of them, that they were social helpers or health helpers, and they were also not private, but so governmental school. And I remember I obviously didn't say I was final year. I always hide my logo, everything. I'm not here to brag. I respect everyone, etc. And I was actually sitting with the teacher that teaching the health assistants, group. And the attention of detail that she showed was insane. And the reason why I mentioned this, because once you see it from an outside view, it's just different. Because obviously I live this all the time with supervisors, with myself, with my colleagues, with nurses, with everything, right? With staff. But when I saw some sort of bird eye view, because I wasn't concerned, I'm not a health assistant, I really don't care about what she was saying. I was learning though, I was listening, I was making sure that I learned, maybe I pick up one or two information that I didn't know. But actually the attention to detail, showing them the exact detail, although they're not nurses. So I really was amazed about it, and this just shows how much detailed attention to detail that you must have. Now, the other aspect of it is consequences, because a lot of the time, and I'm going to give you a very beautiful example here, in reanimation. So people are unconscious, patients are unconscious there. So when you are in reanimation, or any stuff that is related to anesthesia and reanimation, it's really, you have to have an absurd attention to detail, because it's all on you. The patient can't express himself telling you he's suffering. It's all on you. So the ability to have or to pay attention to details under pressure is very big in nursing university in comparison to other degrees. Third point that I really want to talk about here is emotional regulation. So emotional regulation in stressful situations is one of the biggest elements in nursing university. So the reason why is obviously you have a lot of patients, a lot of situations that are absolutely uncontrolled, a lot of aspects that you would never expect. You have families of the patients, their past, their future, their expectations, their fear. You have staff, you have what you've learned, you have your colleagues, a lot of emotional pressure that goes on you. But when it comes to emotional regulation in stressful situation, it really comes in clutch and handy, especially when you are under pressure, when it's only you, when the family is talking to you directly about the patients. In those situations, your emotional regulation just makes the absolute big difference, because emotional regulation can actually make the difference between that family going nuts, literally nuts, and ruining the entire operation, whatever, or the family being calm and actually being helpful in that situation. So the emotional regulation, I would say it starts from basically the first year. So if you're a first year in nursing university, you start learning how to manage your emotions. Obviously, I'm gonna give a good example actually, and this is a personal story. So at the beginning of this year, the beginning of my final year, so this semester, I was in the operation room. I entered the operation room and all I see is open bodies. Okay, one, right? One at a time, right? One at a time. So you see an open bodies, and we have seen this. Obviously, we have studied this for hours and hours. I've had 1,200 hours of internship, and I'm looking at it, and I have never seen it. And honestly, for the first time in my career, I felt that I really want to go out of the room. I really felt that I felt something. I don't know. And it's not I don't know, but you're obviously seeing an open body, you're seeing the guts, you're seeing the pulmonary system, you're seeing the stomach, you're seeing everything, right? And it should just because I was literally going to the operation room and I didn't think about it at all. You don't think, obviously you've got a lot of things to care about. But it was one of those moments that you really have. Obviously, I didn't show or react or anything, but internally, I was sort of. I felt something for the first time in my life. But really, a lot of people have that with blood, with seeing certain situations. So a lot of it comes to emotional control. Is that you see it and instantly regulate yourself and say, okay, that is something that's happening, but I cannot control it, cannot change it. So I must do what I have to do, what is required for me to do, the acts that I've studied, etc., etc. Now the fourth point that I really want to add here is switching between tasks, or switching fast between tasks. Now this sounds a bit almost as if it's cliche, but it's not, because switching between tasks is extremely important, because a lot of the situations, as an example, about 2 days ago, I was working with a patient, right? I was working alone. My colleagues went with the nurse to another room. I was taking care of the patients, so I was doing some medicine, etc. And I was applying the medicine, administrating the medicine. And then one of my colleagues, well, we are only two, so one colleague comes and he says, well, actually, we really need your help. The nurse said he wants you to be with us. So I went there. Obviously, I was not like mid-act that is dangerous, so was everything secured, but I have to go to the other patient. I go to the other patient, I do what I gotta do, I fix the situation, and then also I gotta talk with another nurse. That other nurse is also talking to the family of this other patient. And now I have to go back to this other patient, finish my acts and administrations of all the medicine and his drugs and everything, and then go back with the team and actually continue what we're doing. So this switching of tasks is more of a skill that you need to learn. Because whenever you switch tasks, you have to make sure that the task you are doing initially is at a stage where it can wait for like 5 seconds. Switching between tasks become really handy, especially in work, especially in internship. The fourth point that I really want to talk about is learning not only through theory, but through responsibility. So learning through responsibility is very big, absolutely insanely big when it comes to nursing university, because you have a lot of responsibility. You have an absolute life in your hand. That is a lot of big responsibility. You have to do what you gotta do. You have to do the asks, you have to perform, you have to be active, you have to think, you have to listen to the patient, make him feel comfortable, etc. So learning through responsibility, not theory only, makes a huge difference from nursing university students and other degrees. Anything, whether financial fields, whether other fields, it always makes a big huge difference from learning from actual responsibility, which is, it means if you've done something, you are responsible for it. You are accountable, you'll be held accountable. And that's why there's fast feedback loops in nursing university, whether with staff, with supervisors, with colleagues, or anything. Let's do a quick recap here. What makes or how nursing university trains your brain differently than other degrees? 1. Decision making, fast decision making under stress. 2. Detailed, so this is detailed orientation or attention to detail with consequences. Obviously, there is emotional regulation that is absolute king. We have switching between tasks, extremely important. And finally, we have the learning through responsibility and not only theory. So make sure to write in the comments down below what is your biggest problem that you have in nursing university, and I'll make sure that I'll make a video on how I fixed it for myself. Thank you.